Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be on this planet of ours. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody to our show tonight. Welcome everybody. God bless you all. As we've been doing for quite some time, we're going to start off this program with the Pledge of Allegiance and the United States National Anthem. Would everybody please rise?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Oh, yeah! Come on, folks, let them know it.
The United States Army Barbershop Quartet, coming from the Barbershop Quartet Convention back a long time ago, 8 years ago, in 2015. We appreciate these men sharing this with us. We had the Barbershop Quartet Convention host giving us the Pledge of Allegiance. We appreciate all these men and women in our armed forces, wherever they may be around the world. We also appreciate our allied men and women, wherever they might be, also around the world. God bless you all, and may you all return home to your families in safety after your tours of duty end. God bless you all, and thank you for your service. Folks, we have a lot to talk about tonight. A lot. And I'm going to tell you, I have not been so angry. I have not been so irritated. I have not been so strung out as I have been today. This has been a day from heck, literally. Okay? I've been putting out fires literally all day long. I have talked to many of you on the phone. I understand what you all are also going through, with our nation's politicians lying to each and every one of us, actually coming out and lying to us. There's no other way to put it. They're absolutely lying to us. I want to show you something that's going on actually, this happened earlier this month over in the Netherlands. This must be told. I'm going to tell you, this must be told. I am a bit frustrated. I am a bit angry. This same thing that's been happening here in the United States is happening in the Netherlands. But this time, the good guys are the ones that are protesting. Okay? Now, I can't put the words out vocally as they're speaking. However, I have the closed caption. If you read the closed caption, you'll understand that the Dutch farmers are protesting what they're going through. They have to buy feed to put in the ground, buy seed to put in the ground to feed their cattle. They have to buy seed to feed or to grow vegetables and such for people. And yet, the politicians are telling them, you don't have that right. The Dutch farmers have created the largest upside-down economy ever. The Dutch government removed the flag. Okay? Spanish farmers also rising up with a message here. We don't like to leave the fields to come and protest, but the situation is dramatic. The production costs have become unaffordable. In Italy, Italian farmers are blocking the road from Rome to Naples. In Germany, German people are continuing to take the street to protest against Agenda 2030. But Serbia is the hottest spot in the last few days. The Serbian farmers have been protesting in Novi Sad City for 3 days because of the production costs have become so high for them. Not just in Europe, but protests are happening around the world. 7 groups of Panamanian people took to the streets to protest the high fuel prices and the high cost of living. The same thing in Argentina. Over 35,000 people are protesting against high inflation and against globalist policies. Okay? This is where we're going to end this feed here. This is terrible. This is very terrible. These people don't deserve what they have been going through. Literally. They don't deserve it. They have been through heck just like the rest of us, but in their situation, their HE toothpicks has been a lot worse. Okay? It really is. I have my dear friend Carolyn Martin in the chat from chilly Denver, Colorado. Well, guess what, Carolyn? It's chilly here. No, we don't have snow on the ground. Last night, it got down to 24 degrees, below freezing. Tonight, it's supposed to get down to 25. We've had freeze warnings for the past 2 days, and today is the 3rd one. Tomorrow, temperatures are going up into the 60, 61, 62 range. Well, my golly gee, guess what? It's a heat wave. But Friday, the temperatures are only going to be in the 50s, middle 50s at best, with rain. Yes, rain coming, and the temperatures are going to drop down into the 40s by Sunday. Still some rain and the possibility of something else that is white. Okay? That's what's going on here. It's been crazy. First, we have about 3 or 4 weeks of 70-degree temperatures here in Morganton, North Carolina. The trees start to leaf. The trees start to flower. I've got a beautiful violet tree over here. Guess what? The freeze is going to kill it. Literally. That's what's happening. Farmers have already started to seed the ground because we were getting such a long trend of warm weather. Guess what? Now farmers are having to put tarps on the ground to protect their crops. Everybody, if you're planting anything here in North, South Carolina, and up into Virginia and West Virginia, be aware. There are freezing temperatures coming, and to the Atlantic coast up north, look out. Another nor'easter is coming. Okay? I don't like to talk about that. I don't like to talk about negative things, but this is what's happening. Our weather is for the birds, literally, for the birds. Now, in getting away from that, a few days ago, we had a volcano in Java, Indonesia. It was erupting. I'm going to show you videos. I've got 3 30-second videos of what happened in Java, Indonesia with this. Yes, this particular volcano, Merapi volcano. Watch this. I can't provide sound for you because it's from a helicopter and you're not going to hear anything but the engines whining. But you have the video. Look at this. It first began at the summit of Merapi volcano. Then parts of the flank of the volcano, the side of the volcano, came out. Literally. Lava flowed out of the volcano. And to the bottom of this frame of this video, you see lava and lava plumes coming from the hot lava. This was Merapi volcano just a few days ago. Okay, let me show you another one. Okay, this is another view of it. Look at the bottom of this video. The lava went even further, totally encompassing the flank side of the volcano. This was a major eruption at Merapi volcano. People evacuated up to 2 to 3 miles away. People were displaced. Villages and homes were buried and burned by this lava. Not over yet. Watch this. Again, a slightly different perspective. The lava goes even further down the volcano here. Look at the enormous plumes coming from the lava here. Such a big thing. Unreal. Merapi volcano has not been silent all this time. There's been eruptions at Merapi probably once a year or once every year and a half for a very long time. On the program on our past channel, we have seen Merapi erupt. It's not the first time. More volcanoes are slated for eruption. We talked about those last night. Be aware, those volcanoes over in Alaska are set to erupt. And there's a volcano over on the southwestern shores of Alaska that's getting ready. Edgecombe volcano. We may even see an eruption coming from Shasta or Lassen, or Mount Rainier, or Mount St. Helens, or even Glacier Peak. That's how close things are. Okay? We've talked about this in the past. It's getting ready to happen. Okay? Now, I want to say something else. I have put a link to a video from East Palestine, Ohio in the program notes today. East Palestine is still a big mess. Politicians are still lying. Residents still have a toxic creek running through their properties. Residents are still getting sick. I encourage you, after we get through with this video today, go over there and take a look at that. And I want to also encourage you, we put a link to this in the program description tonight as well. Go over and watch Mark Wages World. I put 2 separate links. Now folks, there was a major event on the sun, and most of it was out facing away from Earth, but we still got plasma eruption headed this way. And if it had been centered towards Earth, it would have been a Carrington event. So folks, I will encourage you after our program today to take a look at Mark Wages' program. Also, he's got pictures of auroras that will blow your mind. Mark Wages is a dear friend of mine. I appreciate him. We've had him on the program before. We've had Mark Pyers on the program before, and I hope to have them on the program again. Now, I got a call from our buddy Sage today, and I have been getting the runaround from San Diego. Today, buses from San Diego County Public Schools in California drove migrants, people that came across the border at San Isidro. They drove migrants all the way to Santa Barbara. Meantime, you guys also need to know something else happened before the migrants got there. And I trust Sage. I trust him immensely. Okay? Everybody needs to know what's going on. The homeless shelters in Santa Barbara County expelled the homeless American citizens that were there, occupying beds in the homeless shelters. And moments later, guess who drove up? Busloads of military-age people coming from San Diego County to the homeless shelters in Santa Barbara. Sage Pup told me this. The research that I tried to do during the past few hours has been horrendous. I've been getting the biggest runaround, trying to ascertain why those buses from San Diego County were transporting undocumented people to Santa Barbara. Yes, guess what? I believe it's Governor Newscomb. Governor Newscomb. I'm not going to use his correct name because I don't want to. That man is a communist. I don't like communists. I don't. But he has made sure that those undocumented people, and I can't use any other words than that, he's made sure that those people are transported all over and making sure that they have shelter over their heads while they kick citizens of this country out of shelters. Is this what's going to happen all over this country and all over Canada? It's happening in Canada as well. Okay? There's someone else that I spoke to earlier this afternoon after I spoke with Sage Pup. That man was Canadian prepper. Not the Canadian prepper that's on YouTube that you always see. This is Canadian Patriot. I'm sorry, Canadian Patriot. And Canadian Patriot told me, guess what? It's happening everywhere. What has been going on is horrendous. Completely horrendous. We've talked to all of you about preparedness items that you need to have. We've talked to all of you about preparing an emergency preparedness plan. Well, guess what? Now I have someone else to tell you the same thing. This man, his name is John Bongino. Okay? I want you to listen to what he says. Or Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino. I want you to see what he has to say. Okay? I can't put his face on this program, but guess what? I have his words for you. And he says the same thing that I have been saying for a very long time. Listen to him say it.
Prepare now. Listen to me, please. In a somber, sober, calming voice, I'm asking you to prepare now and do not wait. What does prepare mean? It means get yourself some emergency food. It means make sure you have some cash on hand. It means make sure you can protect yourself and your family in whichever way makes you comfortable. It means make sure you have a plan with your family about what you're going to do in an emergency. What's the worst case scenario if you were to do this stuff? Worst case scenario is you have to enact that plan, and at least you have one. The best case scenario, you have some emergency food, in 10, 15 years, you throw in the garbage. You have a plan you never used, but was always there. There's no harm there. May cost you a little bit of money to get some of this stuff. Folks, why am I talking like this? Because, folks, the signs are everywhere, and ignoring them and pretending they're not going to be there, like the media is doing now because there's a Democrat president, is doing you a real disservice. I absolutely promise you that if there were a Republican in the White House, whether Trump, Bush, DeSantis, or anyone else, that they would be looking at the signs around us. China's increased belligerency, bank failures, a potential financial crisis, the inflation number out today. They would be telling you the apocalypse is coming tomorrow. And you damn well know what I'm saying is true. But because there's a hapless, rotting bag of oatmeal in the White House, the most corrupt human being ever, and he has a D in front of his name, and they're not ready to throw him overboard because he says he's going to run in 2024, the media is covering up the signs that are absolutely everywhere. And our government is completely, entirely distracted with bull. First, let's get to the Silicon Valley Bank bailout that just metastasized into a cancer yesterday. Now, a lot of you may be thinking, oh, look, we skated yesterday on that. Market didn't take that much of a hit. Good luck with that approach. You remember when the financial crisis hit, but at the end of the Bush administration, right before Obama, it didn't all happen overnight, folks. Yesterday, Biden, after we got off the air with the podcast, we didn't have time to report on it fully. Biden gave a little presser in the White House, didn't take any questions, of course, and he created the Joe Biden bailout, which I promise you is going to create a financial market contagion. I want to go through this a little bit because there are a number of fairy tales about what's going on right now, including the biggest fairy tale of all, that Joe Biden did not, in fact, create a bailout. And don't you worry, no taxpayers will be on the hook. Really? So let me just ask you guys a simple question. And again, if it doesn't make any sense, please stop me. So a bank incurred massive losses selling assets to get customers money who ran on the bank. Those assets were being sold at a loss. Those assets are now being used as collateral with the United States government. So who's taking the loss? Liberals are like, I don't know. Of course you don't know, because you're a moron and you haven't thought any of this through. If the assets weren't taking a loss, Silicon Valley Bank wouldn't have, they wouldn't be losing money and losing customers and going illiquid. Now they're being held in exchange for real money with the Federal Reserve. We're going to have to bank, the U.S. Treasury and the Fed, we're going to have to pay for this. Folks, make no mistake. Money was created yesterday to give to these banks in exchange for assets that were losing freaking money. Money was printed. Money was printed. Isn't that what caused the inflation crisis? That caused Silicon Valley Bank's government bonds to lose money as interest rates went up, as I explained yesterday? Yes. And we're printing more money? Yes. And then we're taking the assets losing money because we printed more money and had to raise interest rates as collateral so we lose the money rather than the bank? Yes. Is any of this difficult? However, as we continue to create this inflation death spiral, as we print more money to give to tech bro banks that donated to Democrat parties to bail them out, and Biden continues to lie to people, the media will never tell you the truth. We're now in a really troubling problem. Why do I say prepare now? Prepare now. Because we're in a really troubling scenario right now as more banks go illiquid. We're looking at either inflation, massive inflation, or financial collapse. You pick. Massive inflation was if we're going to bail out every single bank at the expense of the taxpayer, which Biden did yesterday and lied about. He's creating a precedent now that now we're going to bail out banks. We're under no legal obligation to bail out, especially if they're tech bro banks that donate to Democrats. You get it? Now he's setting a precedent. Where do you think the money's going to come from? Oh, taxpayers. You mean the taxpayers that are already running up $1 trillion deficits every year? Is the government's already spending money we don't have? It's going to come from the Fed printing more money, which is going to lead to a massive inflation death spiral. Well, Dan, just don't print the money. Don't bail out the banks. Okay, then the banks are going to go under. And then we're going to have another massive financial crisis. Inflation collapse. Inflation collapse. There's no option C. There's no soft landing. There's nowhere else for them to go. That was a clip from the...
Okay? There's no soft landing, guys. The soft landing does not exist. The soft landing does not exist. There's no such thing as a soft landing. I want to make that point perfectly clear. There's no way out of this. Okay? You bail out the banks. You print more money to do that, causing higher inflation, causing higher prices. Guess what, guys? People are going to be on the street. And it's not just going to be the homeless of Santa Barbara, the homeless of Salt Lake, the homeless of Denver, or anywhere else. Everybody is going to be on the street. I'm sorry, that's the way it's going to be. You need to prepare. I'm telling you, you need to prepare. Okay? Anne Maria says crash. That's exactly what we're looking at. It's in a downward spiral. Don Patoka in our chat just said a downward spiral without a parachute. And that's exactly it. Some of us, most of us, in the United States, we don't have a cushion. Most of us may have 20 to 30 days worth of liquidity, money, to pay the bills and maybe buy just a little bit of food. That's it. There is no cushion. I'm telling you guys, I have talked about it and talked about it for 4 years now. You need to have a plan. You need to have an emergency plan for whatever emergency comes along. You need to put together that plan. For every emergency, think about it. As you were writing that plan, think about every emergency and write each one down. Whether it's financial collapse, whether it's earthquake. What are you going to do if there's an earthquake? Or when there's an earthquake? It's not if, it's when there's an earthquake. How about facing a hurricane? What are you going to do about that? How about a terribly high windstorm with winds of 100 to 120 miles per hour? I saw that in Denver in 2003. I saw 2 major blizzards that caused a 3-day blizzard to close down highways and roadways all over Denver. I've seen it. We're seeing major blizzards happening in California, in Nevada, and Utah, and across this nation. Blizzards happening over in Albany, New York. 2 different blizzards closing down that city and other cities as well. Nobody can go out. Nobody can do anything. Then we have massive rainstorms like California, Oregon, and Washington have seen. Massive rainstorms and snowstorms adding to the reservoirs. Now the reservoirs are having to release water because they can no longer handle the water that's in the reservoirs. Some places are going to flood. So now we're talking about floods. People are being flooded out all over, not just here in the U.S., but everywhere. We talked about that major flood in Queensland, Australia. It's happening everywhere. It doesn't matter whether it's down in Brazil, in South America, or Panama, or Belize. Yes, Belize. One of my dearest friends is in Belize, and he's gotten flooded many times. Not as bad as some, but he's gotten flooded. Okay? It's unreal what is happening. It's happening in Europe. It's happening in Scandinavia. It's happening everywhere. Then we have the wars and rumors of wars. Okay? China may be about to take Taiwan. And the United States has pledged to defend Taiwan. But it's not just that. Guess what happened yesterday? Can anybody remember what happened yesterday when one of the world powers, Russia, took down one of our jet airplanes over the Black Sea? One of his fighter jets, one of Putin's fighter jets got right in front. Literally right, actually it was like this, back to front. Got right smack dab in front of our drone airplane, our drone jet at 30,000 feet. That pilot thought, oh, I'm just going to hit the afterburners and destroy that plane. Well, that didn't work. So he came back again. This time he backed his plane up and took out the prop, the front prop on the jet, and it went boom right into the Black Sea. And now Russia is trying to retrieve that drone plane for what's in it. The instruments, our cameras, our electronics. Yet the DOD, during a press conference yesterday, says, oh, we don't know exactly what's going to happen with that plane. He wasn't saying, oh, we're going to recover it. But guess what? Now the Russians are trying to recover it, to get our technology, to get our plans on what we are doing. Okay? It's bad. It's very, very bad. Sleeping Volcano says it's a drone, and yes, it was. They took down one of our drones over international waters. Okay? That may cause World War III. Just that one event could cause World War III. Russia tangling with the United States Air Force could cause World War III. If that had been one of our fighter jets, if that had been one of our military airplanes, one of those great big EH command and control aircraft, or EC command and control aircraft, and downed it in the Black Sea, oh yes, there would be World War III. But we are not doing anything because of that stone of a man in the White House that can't much make decisions on his own, let alone climb a flight of stairs or speak into a microphone without stuttering and jumping all over the place and forgetting where he's at, unless he has somebody in his ear talking to him. That is so bad. Okay? I'm not saying anything about his politics. I am saying he is not competent to run this country even during a world war. He's not. Okay? I've assessed it. Doctors have assessed it. The former White House doctor, the White House physician that looked after Trump, Obama, And Mr. Bush, guess what? He has said that Mr. B in the White House is not competent, and he needs to have tests done to evaluate his competency. Okay? But what is going on? We're facing World War III. We have China fighting us, literally. And guess what, folks? It's not just World War III we're worried about. Okay? It's just not Russia. It's China as well. We might as well have already been in World War III with China right now. Right now. And I'm telling you the truth. We might as well have been in World War III, at least for the past month, with China. And now this thing with Russia, guess what, folks? We're here. Banks collapsing. This is going to be worse than the Depression. Worse. Why? Because we have more people on this earth now than we had during the Depression. So it's going to be much, much worse. More money will be lost. People will become homeless. Literally. Nobody will be able to collect any money. So people will be kicking people out of their homes and apartments. Yes, folks, guess what? There is no political solution to this. Yes, it's a spiritual issue. We talked about this side of things as well. But folks, there is no getting out of this. There is no getting out of it. There is no plan. GB Maps is here in our chat, and he's saying our secrets have been given away by this person ever since he was VP. Likely before that. Yes, when he was VP. And guess what? Last week, the FBI found more top secret files in JB's home. Yes, the FBI found more secret files in his house. Yet, just months ago, last year, JB was climbing down Mr. T's back saying, oh, he's violated the law. He needs to be in prison. Oh, really? Well, guess what, JB? You have done the same thing. And yes, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion, probably 60% of this country believe Mr. JB belongs in prison as well. This is not a joke. None of this I'm talking about tonight is funny. It's not funny at all. It's sad, and it's leading us down the proverbial road to financial ruin. Each and every one of us. We've been talking about plans. Write a plan. Go over each and every possible disaster or emergency that can face you. Unemployment being one of them. Write each and every one of them down. And then, after you write each and every disaster or emergency down that you might face, start looking at how you are going to handle each and every one of them. Before, during, and after the disaster happens. That way, when the event happens, you know what you're going to do, and you have a plan to get out from the other side of it. You have a plan that will get you on the other side of that emergency. Everything that you can think of should be written down. And even after you write it down, you can go back and evaluate it again and reevaluate it and change things. An emergency plan should be liquid. It should be liquid. You can change and evaluate it at any time. If you own a business, you should be doing the same thing for your employees in your business. If you have a large enough company and you have managers, you need to first talk to them and get their input about what disasters and emergencies that your business will face. And then write out a plan. And then go back to your managers and say, I've gotten this plan here. Give them a copy. Every manager of your business should have a copy of your emergency plan and then go over it as a team. And there will be input probably given by every manager. And that should come into the plan as well. You can reevaluate it then and reprint it. Then hand it out to the managers and then call a company meeting so all the employees are involved as well. And if the employees have something that's good that you want to include in your plan, write it down again, reevaluate it, print it all up again, hand out the plan to the managers, and also make a copy available for employees in every department. That way they can see what you have to try to save their jobs as well. It's not just about you. It's about your business coming through the emergency and coming out the other side of it. And it's about every employee that works for you. Their livelihood is counted on you doing your job, making sure your company will stay in business, that your family will stay in your business. And I'm not talking about a business itself. Your family is a business in and of itself, making sure that each member of your family is covered, that you're going to be happy, that you're going to have food on the table, that you and them is going to have a peace of mind. Make that part of your plan as well. Make sure your medical is insured as well. Don't take a chance on one of the members of your family getting sick, including you. If you're the major breadwinner in your family, that should be considered as well. Highly considered, because every member of your family is dependent on you. And your business is dependent on you as well. Dan Bongino said it. I've said it before that. I will continue to say it for a long, long time. We need to have a plan. And I'm not going to quit saying it. We need to have a plan. Now, there's something else that I want to talk about. Mr. T. Mr. T gave us a message. Okay? The left-wing Democrat Communist Party here in the United States think that if they bury him, they're going to bury us. They're going to bury him with witch hunts and intimidate his family and his associates, and that way he will throw up his hands and give up on the America First movement. Well, guess what? That movement is us. We need to be America first. We need to be family first. That's it. Okay? I want to tell you what he said. Let me be as clear as possible. I will never surrender. That's what Mr. T said. I will never surrender. And I'm saying that to you. I, Ron Tyler, will never surrender. I'm going to be here until I can't breathe any longer. I am here for you. You guys are my family. Mr. T is in it for everybody. I don't care your political party. I don't care what you think. I believe he's in it for everybody. Yes, there are conflicts of interest maybe. There are people that have been with him before that have led us down a cylindrical path down the porcelain fixture. Yes, Mr. Fauci, among others, led Trump and everybody else down the hole. And I should not have even said that word. But folks, we can't do this on our own. Mr. T cannot either. He said this, and I'm sure you have heard it before. He's walked away from a very nice life, where the media rarely ever said a single thing to him, let alone a single mean thing to him. He knew the price that he would have to pay for running a campaign. And guess what? The mainstream media and the entire Democratic Communist Party went after him even before he was in the campaign, even before he was elected president. They went after him. They lied about him. The Steele dossier was paid for by Hillary Clinton. It was also full of lies, not a single truth in it. But they used that against him. The mainstream media read from it. They came up with their stories about him from that Steele dossier. Guess what? The head of the FBI backed it up as well. And it was found out that the head of the FBI was as criminally involved as anybody. Okay? He should never have been appointed to that position by Mr. Obama. But he was. Okay? Mr. T knew the price that he would have to pay for running a campaign that promised to take on the deep state, the open borders policy. Yeah, he took that on. He built a fence. Then Mr. B gets in there, JB gets in there and wants to try to start taking the fence down. Yeah, taking the fence down. And now we have big steel fences lying on the ground in Texas and in Arizona because Mr. B wants an open border policy and wants people to be taken from the border at San Ysidro, San Diego area all the way up to Santa Barbara and throw American citizens out on the street. Yeah. Mr. T has taken on the global special interest. He's taken on every country that owed us money. And those countries were starting to repay us until he left office. And when JB got in there, guess what? The countries around the world started turning on us. They think we're a joke. Okay? That's happened. Mr. T said that he doesn't regret even a second for what happened. We are patriots, ladies and gentlemen. We are patriots. We have a country to save. And Mr. T said he's not giving up, and I'm telling you that I am not going to give up. I set a course for us over 4 years ago. And I started telling you about that April 3rd, 4 years ago. Okay, this April 3rd will be 4 years. I had a plan then about emergency preparedness. I have been doing this for a lot of years. I have shared that with you, and I want us to be prepared. Everybody that pays attention to this channel should be prepared. We have a country to save. We have our cities, towns, and neighborhoods to save. I'm not giving up, and I know you are not going to give up either. That we can take to the bank. Now, I have some stories to tell from all of you. I have 3 stories that people have sent me, telling me how grateful they are for this program. First off, Charles Helm sent me this. He said, "This is so true. I followed you for several years now. I'm an ex-firefighter, a Boy Scout, an Eagle Scout, and ROTC. Thanks to you, I'm back on track, taking care of family and neighbors, fixing to grow the biggest garden I've ever grown with the help of my sister. You're a great influence on me and many others. God bless you, brother. Thank you for your service to all of us." Nanette Flowers sent me a short message too. "Thank you, Ron. I'm doing my best to prepare my family. May the Lord be with us." Irona Hyde said, "Yes, thanks, Ron. Don't worry, I'm well prepared for whatever comes our way. I have just been listening." That's what she told me. all of you are listening, I hope each and every one of us are being prepared for what is going to happen. It's a matter of time, literally. It's a matter of time. Now, I want to cover something else that I think is very pertinent to what we've been talking about. Okay, I'm going to show you seismograms. Yes, this is from the New Madrid Fault. I'm going to come back to this in just a minute. These are good-sized earthquakes hitting up and down the entire New Madrid Fault. This is a teaser, but this has happened today. Okay? But first, before I go here and I proceed, I want to show you something else. These GIFs that are in front of you right now, this is leaking SO2, sulfur dioxide, from the New Madrid Fault. I'm going to have this up for a couple minutes here. I want you to see exactly what's going on. While we're talking about this, why is this happening? Why is the sulfur dioxide leaking from the New Madrid Fault? We have talked in forever about what is going on the New Madrid. We have talked why the New Madrid Fault is leaking SO2 before, but not specifically about SO2. We have talked about the earthquakes that have been happening up and down the fault. Today it's even worse. Okay? Why is the New Madrid Fault getting hit? Why are we having earthquakes? Why are we having earthquakes? This is a worldwide issue. That's why. Okay? I want to show you this. This is just a small example of the earthquake tectonic plates around the world and what exactly is going on. Okay? Look at the Atlantic Ocean between the United States on the left and Africa and Europe on the right-hand side. The Atlantic Plate. The Atlantic Plate is shifting. If you haven't already figured it out, or if you have not paid attention to my programs in the past, you need to pay close attention tonight. The Atlantic Plate is shifting, and it's shifting in a major way. The center of the Atlantic Plate is moving. It's shifting. It's widening. The center of the Atlantic Plate is widening. Okay? I don't know how else to tell you this. It's widening, and there's a reason. All these plates are shifting. Over in Africa, okay? Africa is being subdivided within itself. Africa is being subdivided in and of itself. Okay? And in doing that, the Atlantic Plate is going like this. The Atlantic Plate is doing this. The center of the Atlantic Plate is widening. Okay? And while it's doing that, the Atlantic Plate is pushing the North American Plate south-southwest in a south-southwest direction. I can show you earthquakes here in North Carolina and Virginia. Today, earthquakes today that have happened. I can show you earthquakes in Georgia. I can show you earthquakes in South Carolina today that prove that the Atlantic Plate is pushing on the North American Plate, causing larger earthquakes. Not 5.0s, but I'm talking 3.5s to 4.0, 4.5s. Small to moderate earthquakes all up and down the East Coast. And in doing that, what is happening? The North American continent is being pushed south-southwest like this. Exactly like that. It's putting pressure on the New Madrid Fault. Putting pressure on the New Madrid Fault. And that is why that short teaser of that seismic event, guess what? That's in Arkansas today. Those seismic events that I just showed you are in Arkansas today as a result of larger earthquakes happening on the East Coast. I'm telling you guys, this is getting mean. This is getting very mean. All of a sudden, my source for seismic information opened up about Marked Tree, Arkansas. During the past month or 2 months, they have silenced Marked Tree, Arkansas. It was as if Marked Tree, Arkansas was not moving at all. Marked Tree, Arkansas has always moved. We have shown you week to week that Marked Tree, Arkansas was experiencing anywhere from 3.0 to 4.0 magnitude earthquakes. 3.0 to 3.9 are considered, I shouldn't say this, I should say this way, 3.0 on the low side to 3.9 on the high side are considered to be small earthquakes. Small earthquakes. From 4.0 to 4.9 are considered to be moderate earthquakes. Moderate earthquakes. I told you years ago, when everyone was starting to ask questions about the New Madrid Fault, I assured you that as soon as I saw evidence, meaning seismograms showing us evidence that the New Madrid Fault was building in intensity, that I was going to show that to you. 2 years ago this started. It went from anywhere from 1.0 up to 2.2. 2.0 to 2.9 are considered to be minor earthquakes. As soon as it started rising, and I'm talking about the seismicity, the size of the quakes, as soon as I told you I saw the size of the quakes increase, I told you that I was going to report to you. And that was 2 years ago. 2 years later, it's gone from minor earthquakes and minor tremors to minor tremors and 4.0 earthquakes on the New Madrid Fault. I'm going to show you that today. But first, what am I going to show you? Okay, I've explained the tectonic issue. You guys need to know this. The entire Earth is changing. And it's not just that. We're going through a plate shift, or not a plate shift, but a magnetic shift. The poles are changing. The pole is shifting. The magnetic north is shifting, which is also responsible for some of the tectonic plate shift as well. Okay? There's not just one thing, it's everything. Everything's changing. Okay? Now, I'm going back here. I'm going to show you this one. Okay? And then we're going to show you several other seismograms as well. Okay? Guess what this is? Guess what this is? This is Marked Tree, Arkansas. For 2 months now, 2 months, the agencies were keeping us from showing you this slide. They were showing nothing happening here at Marked Tree, Arkansas, which was a lie. This is the evidence today that what they've been showing is lies. When they show nothing going on, they're lying to us. Because prior to 2 months ago, this was what was happening at Marked Tree, Arkansas. It was building up. It's constantly been building up. Up at the top, up on that red line at the top, okay, this is just before 1 o'clock in the morning. This is 12:15. 12:15 this morning. Over on the left-hand side is 12:15. You can see the tremors building up. From microquakes to small tremors. 1.0, 1.2, 1.3, on up to 1.4, 1.5, up to 1.9, and then 2.5 magnitude earthquakes. 3 minutes of 2.9 magnitude earthquakes. It wasn't just 2.0 minor earthquake. It was a 2.9 minor earthquake, just shy of a 3.0. A small quake. Okay? But look at the other quakes on this seismogram. Okay? Look at them. Take a close look. When they begin to chop off the top and the bottom of these seismic signatures, they are hiding information that they do not want us to see. On both of these green seismic signatures here, on this seismogram. This one at just after 1:45 a.m. this morning, probably about 1:48 a.m. it starts with just minor tremor. Then it builds and it builds, and the top and the bottom have been cut off. This was probably a 3.0, 3.5 magnitude earthquake, and also the second one there. It had the top and the bottom of it cut off as well. This was at least a 3.0 earthquake, probably a 3.5 or larger. Let me push this up. These other quakes were in the 2s right here. This blue one on the right, okay? This is about 4:41 a.m. this morning. This is a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake, okay? But it lasted 2.5 minutes. It started long before that, 2 minutes before. It started building from tremors 2 minutes before it turned into a full-blown earthquake. And then after that, look at the right-hand side of this blue earthquake. Okay? It started dissipating. Then the dissipation continues over on the green earthquake signature on the left. That is 4:45 this morning. And it continues out into a body wave, meaning the secondary wave lasted at least 2 minutes. Then the body wave kicked in, and it lasted another 8 minutes before it dissipated into nothing more than microquake activity. Look at these other earthquakes here, okay? Look at the bottom one on the right, the blue one. What happened here? The bottom part of this seismogram was cut off. The paper was cut off, which means this was also a 3.0 earthquake. A 3.0 earthquake. The primary wave, which is the largest waves, lasted about 45 seconds. There were several of them, probably 5 or 6 of them. Then it went to a secondary wave, which was 2.0, 2.3, 2.4 earthquakes, minor earthquakes, before it dissipated into a tremor, a body wave. Okay? And you can see that here on the green seismic signatures at the bottom left. You can see what I'm talking about. And this, folks, is Mark Tree, Arkansas, the center of the New Madrid fault. Folks, I'm not kidding here. I am deadly serious about what we're seeing here. I want all of you to know the new Madrid fault is getting ready to go. Just like the Cascadia is getting ready. The volcanoes are ramping up. Wherever we see a volcanic eruption, it's at least a 5.0 earthquake. At least a 5.0 earthquake. Every time. Every volcano. It's not a joke. This is happening. It's happening over and over and over every day. Okay? Now, I'm going to take you to Georgia, Blakely, Georgia. Okay? This is this morning in Blakely, Georgia. Let me enlarge this to let you see what's going on. This morning at midnight, the top line here is midnight, 12 midnight this morning. Okay? Nothing happened, did it? Very little of anything happened until after 7:30. Then all heck broke loose at about 7:40 a.m. this morning. Probably 7:39 a.m. this morning. You can see the blue signatures here. That's about 7:39 a.m. this morning. Let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, just about 7:38 this morning. Okay? We can't see the bottom of this quake. It was hidden by the black and the red below it. Folks, this quake was at least a 2.8 minor earthquake. At least. Okay? At least. It continued for how long? Let me count. Okay? I'm going to count the first time we had a P wave. The first time we had a P wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just after 7:38 this morning, we had several P waves. 2.9 magnitude earthquakes. Okay? Then it calmed down for almost 2 minutes. About 1.5 minutes. Then it starts up again. Then we have P waves lasting a full 2 minutes. 2.9, maybe 3.0 earthquakes. That's what it looks like. Okay? Then it starts dissipating a little bit, and then we even have some more P waves. Probably a 2.8, but still P waves being generated. Then it comes over to the left-hand side at 7:45 a.m. this morning. It dissipates down to probably 1.9, 2.0 minor earthquake. Dissipates down to quite a little bit. Then it starts building again. Building again about 7:50 a.m. this morning. You see it on the green. It starts building again. Then about 7:56 a.m. this morning. That's when the biggest P wave hits. Okay, again, we can't truly see the bottom of this green P wave because of the other seismic activity that happens after that. But this is probably close to a 3.0 earthquake as well. And then look over to the far right. The far right, this is 7:59 a.m. this morning. Look how close those P waves are together. They're painting two pictures of nothing more than long rectangles. That means those P waves continued to hammer together, one after another, for about 30 seconds. Nearly 3.0 activity, at least. The top of this particular earthquake has been cut off, and the bottom has also been cut off. At least a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake for 30 seconds. That's a long time for an earthquake to hit, let alone 2 or 3 minutes like we've seen with these other quakes. Then we come over to the left-hand side. The seismic event continues, but it dissipates some to probably 2.0 magnitude earthquake. Then, about a minute later, we have another larger earthquake. Again, probably a 3.0. Then it dissipates again. And then, on this black line, you're seeing these P waves hit off and on. How many P waves? I've tried counting them. There's at least 15 P waves there. Okay? And they continue, and then they dissipate over to the right side of that black line. That black line is at I want to say about 8:11, 8:12 this morning. It's dissipating. Then it starts building up at 8:15 on the left-hand side on the red. And you can see it. It goes into probably 1.5 to 1.6 magnitude tremors. And that continues over till about 3 minutes after that. Okay? About 8:18, 8:19 a.m. this morning. We see then our first 2.0 on that line. Then it dissipates again to about 1.5, 1.6 tremors, and then it picks up to maybe 1.7. Then it dissipates again, and it continues on like this for a very long time until we have again 2.7 magnitude earthquakes on and on and on for nearly a full minute. Okay? Let's look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? This is 8:24 a.m. this morning. 2.5, 2.7 magnitude quakes here. Prior to that, we had 3.0s. 3.0s, most people were going to feel. 3.5s, definitely. You're going to see some kind of movement under your feet. Prior to that, your water in your toilet is going to vibrate. It's going to slosh side to side a little bit in the toilet. That's been happening a lot to us here, where I live, every day. Every day. And today, I found the reason it is happening. Because even earthquakes here in Morganton, North Carolina, are affecting us here. Us here. All around us. We're feeling stimulated by minor tremors and minor quakes right here where we live here. Okay? This is what's happening at Mark Tree, Arkansas. What I just showed you comes from Mark Tree, Arkansas. Let me take you to the East Coast for a minute. Okay? I want to show you what's going on. Actually, that slide you just saw was Georgia. Blakely, Georgia this morning. Let's go over here and show you Blakely, Georgia this afternoon. Look at this. You thought you should be concerned about what we saw this morning? Look at this afternoon. It got quiet just after 12 noon today. It stayed quiet. It stayed quiet till about 1:30. I'm going to say 1:35, 1:36 this afternoon. Look at this blue line at the top. That's about 1:36, 1:37 this afternoon. The top of the blue lines are off the paper. This, folks, was at least a 3.0, 3.5 small earthquake. Seismicity is building. This is the largest seismic activity we've seen and shown you in Georgia ever. In 4 years, I have never shown this kind of thing to you before. This is today. The seismic energy has been building for days. This is today in Blakely, Georgia. No, it's nothing where people are going to feel shaking in their homes. They're going to feel a tiny bit of shaking. But things are not falling off their walls. People are going about their business. But look what's going on. It's not just 2.0 minor quakes. It's not tremors anymore. Seismic energy is building. Over on the left-hand side, red line. Let's take a look at that really quick. Okay, for the first 60 seconds. Okay, that would be 3:15 this afternoon. 3:15 to 3:16, all we had was minor tremor activity. Then, folks, if you look at that line, the top and the bottom have been cut off. This is at least a 3.0 earthquake right here. It's a 3.0 earthquake right here. But look just behind it, on the black line, 3:01 p.m. this afternoon. Look at that black line behind the red one. This, folks, is at least a 3.5 earthquake. We can't see the bottom of it because the red after that at 3:15 is covering it. But this lasted over a minute. A minute of long shaking. At least a 3.5 earthquake in Blakely, Georgia this afternoon. 3:01 to 3:02 p.m. this afternoon. Look at this other shaking here. It's not just 2.0 earthquakes anymore. It's larger than that. And over on the right-hand side, bottom on the black line here, that is, on the left-hand side black line, it's 5 p.m., 1700. We come over to the right here. This is 5:12, 5:13 this evening. Those folks are at least 2.9, 3.0 earthquakes here at nearly 3:15. And then we come over to the bottom red line here, which is 5:15, and you can see the seismic activity continues. That's when I pulled this seismic event right here, just after 5:15. You can see what's going on, guys. This is serious. This is in Georgia. Again, the Atlantic plate is pushing the North American plate in a south-southwesterly direction. And this is what's happening. This is what's happening. And it's not just in Georgia. Let's go over to north to South Carolina. Wait till you see what I have to show you here in South Carolina. Okay? We have some tremors in South Carolina right here. Okay? This, folks, is in Blacksburg, South Carolina. Okay? Not much has happened. Just minor tremor activity here. But look what happened this morning here. Okay? On this green line, this is about 8:48, 8:49 a.m. this morning. The green line, this is at least a 2.0, 2.3 magnitude earthquake. Then let's drop down to this red line here. You see that earthquake here? This is about 10:19 this morning. This, folks, is a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. Okay? This is in Blacksburg, South Carolina. Okay? We're even seeing tremors and earthquakes happening in South Carolina. Okay? It's incredible. It's not stopping. Now, I want to take you to Roland, North Carolina, northeastern Carolina, this morning. Look at this. Let me take you to the top of it. There is almost no activity whatsoever. These are nothing more than microquakes. Microquakes that continued to happen until after 6:30 a.m. this morning. Okay, 6:30 a.m. this morning. Then, let's look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This happened. We're looking at this blue quake about the center right here. This blue line here with the first quake we have here. Okay? This is about, I want to say, 6:41, 6:39, 6:41 a.m. this morning. This is a 2.2 earthquake. Just minor earthquake. It's okay. But look what happens after that. Okay? At 7 o'clock, not much happens. Then, after 7:15, on the red line, the first event, we can't see the bottom of it, but we can see the top. This is at least a 2.5 earthquake. A 2.5 earthquake. Then, 2.5 minutes later, we come over here. This is another 2.8, 2.9 magnitude earthquake on the same line here. Then we come over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes later. Now on this same line, the same line here. This, folks, is 7:28 a.m. this morning. This is a 3.0, 3.2 magnitude earthquake. This is a small earthquake felt in Roland, North Carolina. This is northeast of where I'm at. Okay? And they continue on the 7:30 blue line. The 7:30 blue line. 7:34 a.m. we start to see seismic energy building in terms of tremors. Then you see the first P wave. Okay? The first P wave launching up into the seismogram. In this case, guys, this is at least a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Okay? And it continues. But in this case, it's just minor tremor activity. And it continues over on the 745 or 745 green line until it gets to the end of the green line over here on the right hand side. This is just before 8 a.m. Okay? We see seismic energy building. Then we launch into a P wave just prior to 8 a.m. Then we pull over here to the left. The P waves continue hammering Roland, North Carolina. In this case, these are 3.2, 3.4 magnitude earthquakes. Okay? These were felt. There's 200 felt reports on these quakes. It continued happening literally all morning long, off and on. I dropped down to 8:45 on the green line. We count over 4 minutes. That's 8:49. 8:49 to 8:51 a.m. this morning. It starts off with tremor activity, then it blows into a 3.5 magnitude earthquake. A 3.5 magnitude earthquake here. Okay? This is North Carolina, guys. North Carolina. You can see these other earthquakes here. This is what's going on. It's all over the place. It's literally all over the place. Okay? This is northeast of where I'm at. Okay? I'm not scared. Yes, I'm prepared. But folks, it's happening. That's the whole point of this lecture today. It's happening. Everybody needs to know it. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you another mountain just barely west of me. And I'm talking not more than 4 miles away from me. This is what's going on that's making my toilet water move around in the bowl. Look at this. These are tremors and microquakes. The largest tremors you can see are moving here. No, I can't feel these. I can't feel these. But when it comes to water that's sitting still, guess what? The water tells me that there is shaking going on. There's shaking going on. I'm going to place my water on the desk here. And I'm going to look over in just a minute and see what's going on with my water. Yes, there's minor shaking going on. If I lifted it up, you could see it. If I could hold my hand steady and not move it at all. But every once in a while, there's a minor shake in my water bottle. Okay? It's happening, guys. It's happening all over the place. And I just realized you can't even see my water bottle. Let me move this over. Okay? This is my water bottle that I was talking about. And I'm trying to hold it fairly quiet here without jumbling it up. Okay? I can't even hold it still enough for the camera. But I'm telling you guys, every once in a while we feel these tremors. These are just 1.2, 1.3 tremors. But the earth is moving even here where I'm at. Okay? Tremors can make the water bottle shake, or the water in the toilet or a bottle shake, or the water in a glass shake. This is Grandfather Mountain, just west of where I'm at. Okay? This is what's going on. Okay? So we know for a fact where this is coming from. We know for a fact where it's coming from. Now, let me show you more shaking going on. I've covered the East Coast fairly well. I've shown you what's going on. I don't want to bring this program out to 3 or 4 hours away. I showed you what's going on in Mark Tree, Arkansas. Okay? Let me show you the Ozark Folk Center in Arkansas. Okay? This was this morning. No, I'm sorry. This was this afternoon. This was this afternoon. Okay? Let me enlarge this so you can see it. So we all can see it. Okay? Just before 1:30 it starts. Actually, it did start at 1 o'clock, right after 1 o'clock this afternoon. Over on the right-hand side, we see what looks to be a tremor. Probably a 1.4, 1.5 tremor. This was on the black line. Okay? This is at approximately 1:13 p.m. this afternoon. Just a tremor. Okay? Then we go over to the red line. There's nothing more than fiddlesticks going on. Okay? But we go to the blue line below that. Again, this time we have a 1.6 tremor at about 1:40, 1:32, no, just after 1:31 this afternoon. Okay? Then we go down here, further down the line here. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just after 1:36 this afternoon. This is in Arkansas at the Ozark Folk Center. Guess what? We have a full-blown 3.5 magnitude earthquake. This is just a small 3.5. Look how far it went. It jiggled that stylus way down here, and then the stylus crept up to the main line again. And even then, we have a 2.5 tremor. I'm sorry, a 2.5 minor earthquake. Then a minute later, we have another 3.0, 3.2 magnitude earthquake. Okay? This is in Arkansas, mind you. And down below that, okay, just after 2:02 p.m. this afternoon, another 2.9, 3.0 magnitude earthquake over here on the black left line. Okay? Then we have some minor earthquakes after that, after 3 p.m. this afternoon. About 3:10, 3:11 this afternoon. Minor earthquakes. This is Arkansas. I've already shown you what happened in Marktree. This is the Ozark Folk Center. Okay? Now, I'm going to take you to Truman, Arkansas, just south of Marktree. This is Truman, Arkansas this morning. Well, things are really shaking north of there. This is what's happening in Truman. This is eastern Arkansas. Okay? You see up at the top, we have some tremors building into a 2.0 earthquake, and then tremors going back in a secondary wave. The secondary wave lasts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes before it dissipates into a body wave. 4 minutes of secondary waves. That's unreal. That's unreal. Tremors. 4 minutes of tremors after a 2.0 earthquake. I've never seen that before. Then look at these other tremors here. After 1 a.m. After 2 a.m. Then let's jump down to 2:30 a.m. this morning. 1, 2, 3, 4, actually 3 minutes after. 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes after that. That would be 2:34 this morning. Okay? We went from microquake activity to building tremors, 0.1, on and on for 2 minutes. Then it was 1.2, 1.3 for another minute. Then it built up to 1.6, 1.7. Then it built up to at least a 2.5, 2.6 earthquake. This lasted again for almost 2 minutes. Then, out here you see the P wave again, the largest P wave, the thickest P wave. This is a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake all day long. Then the secondary wave dissipates up and down. Okay? Secondary wave dissipates up and down. That was the largest earthquake here. That was the largest earthquake in this location. Look at the bottom here. Okay? On this red line over on the bottom right. That's on the 11:15 line, but here now we're talking about 11:25 a.m. this morning. You see the seismic energy building? This is just tremor activity. And on the blue line below that, and on the green line below that on the left-hand side, just tremor activity. This is Truman, Arkansas. Let me show you Tyrone, Arkansas. Tyronza, Arkansas. Okay, look at this. These are earthquakes, guys. These are tremors and earthquakes happening in Tyronza, which is south of Truman. Over here, 1, 2, 3, 4. After 4, this is about 4:13 a.m. this morning. Okay, just before 14. Okay, just before 14 here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4:14 a.m. this morning. We have 2.2, 2.3 earthquakes, minor earthquakes. And after that, there's a bunch of tremors here. And we have earthquakes that you can see here. These are just 2.2, 2.5, 2.6 earthquakes. Okay, this is Tyronza, Arkansas. As you can see, there's plenty of seismic activity up and down the entire New Madrid Fault. But let's go north. Let's go north to Illinois. I want to show you Fairfield, Illinois. Look at what's happening on the north end of the New Madrid Fault. Prior to 4 a.m. this morning, it was fairly quiet. Not more than a blip and a hit on a tiny tremor. That's all. Prior to that, microquakes. Okay, but look what happens after that. All of a sudden, we have tremors sprouting all over the place. This is nothing more than tremors until 10:46 this morning. That's when we have our first 2.0 magnitude earthquake here. A 2.0 magnitude earthquake here in Fairfield, Illinois. That was this morning. Let's go over here and see what happens this afternoon. Look at this, guys. Look at this. Not only do we have tons of tremors here, but we also have some 2.0 magnitude earthquakes. Up on the top line to the right, you see the black line going up over off the scale, off the paper. 2.0 earthquakes, 2 of them there. Possibly a third right before 12:15. And we have several others like that as well. Tremors hitting all over the place here in Illinois, the north end of the New Madrid Fault. Is that concerning or not? We could walk away from it, but I don't think you should. How about Indiana? Let's go over to New Harmony, Indiana today. Okay, look at this. At first, when I saw this, I didn't want to believe it. Because what it showed was minor tremors happening for extended time periods. Okay, 1.2, 1.3 magnitude tremors happening for 10 minutes at a time, 11 minutes at a time. But guess what? That's exactly what happened here this morning. Okay, this morning here. This is New Harmony, Indiana, guys. Look at this. Then it builds before the end of the morning. We actually see some 2.0 earthquakes. We have tremors all morning long. Then, about 10:50, I'm not saying 10:50, 10:40 this morning, we have our first our second 2.0. I see we have another 2.0 after 9:10 this morning. Then almost an hour later, we have another one. We have tons of tremors all over here. The entire New Madrid Fault is shaking, top to bottom. We see shaking everywhere. That's what I'm trying to show you. Up and down the entire New Madrid Fault. Okay? The entire fault is shaking. I want to show you Evansville, Indiana. Okay? Indiana. Look at this. Folks, you can't get this unless you search for it. All we see here is tremors here in Evansville, Indiana. This is at the Indiana State University in Evansville. Okay, that's where the seismograph is. But we see tremors hitting all over this area, literally. Okay, you can't make it up. It's happening all over. It's literally happening all over. That's the north side of the fault. Would you like to see the south side of the New Madrid Fault? I am talking about Louisiana. Okay, just a second, let me take care of something. My monitor just went dark on me, I just brought it back. Hurricane Heather hits the Kermadec Islands, north of New Zealand. A 7.1 major earthquake in the Kermadec Islands tonight. A 7.1 major earthquake in the Kermadec Islands. We first saw this happening 4 years ago. 4 years ago, right before I went on the air. Just within about a month or so before I went on the air. A 7.1 earthquake. And it didn't stop there. There were 7.1, 7.4s, even a 7.6 in the Kermadec Islands. They're not occupied islands. The only occupants of the islands are birds. It's a bird sanctuary. So the bird sanctuary is getting hit. Unreal. I knew it was going to happen again. We've had 5s and 6s. All up and down that fault between Tonga all the way down into New Zealand. Okay? It's happening. Let's go and show you the southern end of the New Madrid Fault. I'm going down to DeRidder, Louisiana. I can't wait to show you this. Okay? DeRidder, Louisiana this morning. Look at this. Nothing but minor tremors. Yes, you look at the zigzag lines here. That's trash. Okay, that's trash. The tremors don't zigzag like this. It doesn't happen. Okay, but when you see other events happen and it comes inside the trash, you know there's some tremors here, don't you? Oh yeah. Look at these tremors, okay? Look at these tremors. One just prior to 3:28 this morning. Then we have another tremor after 8 a.m. About 8:02 a.m. this morning. We have more tremors, and it lasts about 3 or 4 minutes. Then further down here, this is on the black line here. Actually, before that, at 10:45 a.m., 10:55 a.m., 10:55 a.m. this morning, we have some minor tremors. Some more tremors at about 10:20 or 11:25 a.m. this morning. And then look at all these tremors after 11:45. Okay, even before that, at 10:45 a.m. this morning, you can see them here on the blue line, on the green line. Okay, here at 11:45, you can see what's going on. Okay, this is in Louisiana, DeRidder, Louisiana. Okay, it's wild. DeRidder, Louisiana this afternoon. Look at this. Okay, look at that. The tremors went from becoming tremors to full-blown 2.0 earthquakes up here on the 12 o'clock line. Remember I just showed you the 11:45 line, the green line, and over on the right-hand side, just prior to 12 noon, all of a sudden we got some larger tremors, and then it graduated into 2.0 earthquakes, and then tremors again. And then over here, okay, over here on the black line, okay, this is just after 1 p.m. this afternoon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 1:08 this afternoon. just after 1:08 this afternoon, we have another 2.0 earthquake. We don't see the bottom of it, but we see the top. Prior to that, 3 minutes earlier, we saw tremors hitting. 1.5, maybe 1.6, 1.7 tremors. Then 3 minutes later, this earthquake. The Ritter, Louisiana is moving. This is the southernmost part of the New Madrid Fault. I believe I have one more place I want to show you, and that's Pioneer, Louisiana. Look at this. Okay, this isn't much. This is this morning. This is a seismogram this morning. Not much happened until after 10 a.m. On this black line here, okay, this is about 10:13 a.m. this morning. Okay, again, we have a few 2.0 earthquakes. The first one, right there, 10:13. Then we come over about 20 seconds later. We have another couple. Then we have some tremors again. Okay, and we have tremors off and on until we get down here just after 11:01 a.m. this morning. Then we have some 1.5, 1.6 tremors here. We have some tremor buildup here. This is the southern end of the New Madrid Fault, ladies and gentlemen. The entire New Madrid Fault is moving. It's being squished. It's being squished right between the East Coast and the West Coast. The East Coast and the West Coast, ladies and gentlemen, that is what's actually happening here. I can show you a lot of other seismograms that I have here, but this would drag it out for another hour, and I don't want to go there. I wanted to show you the activity. I want to show you the activity. Let's drop down here to the USGS map here. Okay? I don't even like to show you this, and they're doing it to me again. Wouldn't you know? They do this enough. Gosh golly gee, Sergeant Carter, the U.S. government doesn't want me to show you this. We're going to show it to you anyway, because I know how to get around them. Okay? Let me reload it. I've done this so many times lately, it's stupid. Oh, I've got the USGS map back. Woo! I've got the map back. Okay, yes, we only see a few earthquakes here in Central California. Okay, one of them here, the San Francisco Bay Area, this is Orinda, California. This is on the Hayward Fault. This is a 2.0 earthquake on the Hayward Fault just east of the San Francisco Bay. The Hayward Fault is one of the most dangerous faults around, together with San Andreas. Okay? Look down here. This, folks, is Tres Pinos. There's been repeated earthquakes here. Swarms of earthquakes hitting Tres Pinos. And look what we have here. 2 earthquakes in Tres Pinos. A 2.2 and another 2.2 side by side. Twin earthquakes. Twin earthquakes. We've seen this a lot. Remember, twin earthquakes. We're going to continue to see this for a very long time going forward. The first time we saw it was 3.5 years ago at Ridgecrest. Twin earthquakes, remember that. Over here, further south, this is the Pinnacles. This is the Pinnacles. This is an oil and gas producing area, and it's on the fault, the San Andreas Fault. We have a 1.9 here and a 0.8 microquake. Okay, that's here. We go further south. Large earthquakes over on the Oceania Fault. This is another 2.2 near San Simeon. San Simeon, guys, 2 years ago, Sage Pup took his friend to San Simeon on vacation for a week. We had a 5.1 earthquake here in San Simeon. There is a 2.2 earthquake there. South of there, just east of the Oceana Fault. This is Lake Nacimiento. This is a 1.9, 2.0 earthquake. Just south of there, again, a twin earthquake, a 1.4 in Nacimiento, California. Okay? That's what's happening here. You see other earthquakes here, further south on the San Andreas. Oh, I forgot to show you this. I need to show you this. Guess where this is? This is the earthquake capital of California, Parkfield, California. This is a 1.1 tremor in Parkfield. Okay? Let me back this out. There's more earthquakes hitting here in Southern California. Remember, we talked about this yesterday, so we're not going back and approach it today. Minor tremors there. Down here on the San Andreas Fault, off of the coast of Mexico, just west of Puerto Vallarta. We have a 4.5 earthquake hitting here. Okay? The San Andreas Fault Zone. Okay? And again, they don't show any Mexican earthquakes here. This whole area of southern Mexico is peppered. Probably 40, 45 earthquakes here in southern Mexico, and even more down here in Central America that they're not telling us about. Of course not. Heaven forbid they tell us. Over here in the central mid-Atlantic, this is a 5.0 large earthquake. No harm, no foul. It's out in the water of the Atlantic Ocean between South America and Africa. A 5.0 there. Turkey, look here. Turkey is continuing to get hit, but this time, down here near Cyprus, we have a 4.2. Yes, Cyprus has gotten hit before. No big deal. This is a moderate earthquake. Yes, they shook around a little bit, but no big deal. Somebody may have lost some trinkets on a shelf, getting knocked off a shelf, a picture of something falling off a wall. That's all that 4.5 is going to do. But up here in Turkey, USGS is showing one earthquake, guys. Look at this. This is a 4.2. There are about 75 to 80 earthquakes here in Turkey that they're not showing us. USGS says there's 322 earthquakes worldwide. Guess what? I just showed you another 100 here. Their one doesn't mean anything. There's about 100 earthquakes here in Turkey today. It's not going to stop. Why? Folks, we told you that these people tried calling this a 6.8 magnitude earthquake, a very strong quake. Don't get me wrong, that would be a very strong quake. But this was decimated by a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake. That's what really hit Turkey. It opened up a huge fissure that went 12 miles. That fissure was opened up 12 miles. And at points, that fissure was 8 stories deep. An 8-story building would have fit in that fissure. It was a good a good football field long, or wide, I mean. Football field wide, and 8 stories deep, 12 miles long. It was not a 6.8 earthquake. 6.8 earthquakes don't do that. I've shown you the fissure on previous programs. Okay? I wish the USGS would tell the truth. Down here in the South Pacific, they show you the great big huge 7.0 earthquake. Yes, this is huge. This is a major earthquake. This is a major earthquake. They're saying it's only 22 kilometers deep. I'm sorry, 22 kilometers deep. Woohoo! This is a shallow earthquake. Okay? We may see some other earthquakes here in the coming days and hours. Okay? Hours and days. They're not showing us any earthquakes down here in New Zealand, but there are. There's about 20 earthquakes down here in New Zealand that they're not showing us. Thank you very much, USGS, for nothing. Over here, further north, there's a 4.5 here in southern Luvika, Fiji. Southern Luvika, Fiji. Over here near Tonga, near Niafu, Tonga. This is a 4.5. It's 153 kilometers deep. North of there, this is near Hihifo, Tonga. 105 kilometers north-northeast of Hihifo, Tonga. It's a 4.7. A 4.739 kilometers deep. The earth is shaking everywhere. This is the first major quake that we've had here in some time. This is a shallow earthquake. They're going to continue to hit here. That I promise you. South America, guess what? We've had about 20 earthquakes here in South America. The USGS mirror pins showing some 3-4s here, that's a joke. 3s and 4s have hit all over the western side of South America all day. Chile, Brazil, Peru, Colombia hit all over here. They did not even include any earthquakes here in Central America, like I said. Over here in Puerto Rico, a lot of people have been asking me about Puerto Rico. They've been really concerned about Puerto Rico, and you should be. Look at the swarm of earthquakes that's developing again down here in southwestern Puerto Rico. This is a good-sized swarm. Okay? No, I don't think that we're going to have a major earthquake here. These earthquakes here in southwestern Puerto Rico are due to man-made earthquakes here. Man-made earthquakes here, December 28th and December 30th. December 28th and December 30th, 2019. Man-made earthquakes. Okay? Man-made. I explained this in full knowledge of all of you, so all of you would know why. There may be people that don't understand how that could happen. How could we have man-made earthquakes that large? Well, guess what, guys? I'm going to show you. I thought I had all my paperwork here. I can't say certain words. I cannot talk about certain organizations or they will take me down here. Look at this. Okay? What does it say? Can anybody tell me what it says? This organization lit up 3 facilities. One in Norway, one in Russia, and one in northwestern Australia. In lighting it up, guess what happened? They triangulated southwestern Puerto Rico on December 28th, 2019. That one was an 8.0 earthquake. That was an 8.0 earthquake. 2 days later, there was an 8.4 earthquake. Both of them major earthquakes. Very, very major earthquakes, causing a lot of damage and killing people. The second earthquake caused a natural monument to fall. There was a great big huge red arch over here in southwestern Puerto Rico near the beach. Man-made arch at the beach, and the 8.4 knocked it down. Those arches, you can see arches over at Arches National Park just like that in Utah. But people who had a lot of money knocked them over. People who had a lot of money and a lot of stupidity knocked those arches over. Okay? It was a big deal for Puerto Rico. And yet, this agency knocked them over. Now we're seeing aftershocks. We've been seeing aftershocks for 3 years now. 3 years. I reported on this earthquake. I know what happened. I reported on those earthquakes. I have reported on these aftershocks ever since. Okay, let's go down here to the south. This is a 2.2 just off the coast. Let's go up to the coastal area. This is a 2.6 in Guanica, Puerto Rico. A 2.6 further north. This is a 2.4 further north. This is a 2.2 further north. This is a 2.1. Okay, let's go further east. This is a 2.8 near Indios, off the coast of Indios, Puerto Rico. Over here near Indios, this is a 2.1. Further west, right here, this is a 2.5 near Palmero. I'm trying to pronounce this. Palmarejo, Puerto Rico. Palmero, Puerto Rico. I am sure I busted that open. I'm going to call my buddy Dominic over there and talk to him about what's going on. It's a big deal. It's continuing to happen. When we have major quakes like we had, it will cause aftershocks for months and even years after that. You see this happening today in Puerto Rico. It's not over, folks. They're going to continue to shake, rattle, and roll in Puerto Rico for a very long time. If it doesn't happen again. If it doesn't happen again. Now, guys, I want to show you something before I leave here tonight. Something that I've wanted to show you in a while. Okay? I want to show you something for a while now. Just a second, let me pull it up here. Okay, it's not that, just a second. Okay, I want to show you this. I'm going to blow it up here so you can see it, in case it's too small for you. Okay? I love this picture. It's a beautiful picture. This is from the Psalms. Psalms chapter 27, verse 12. I'm sorry, verse 13. Psalms 27, verse 13. I remain confident of this. I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Brothers and sisters, I know we will see the greatness of the Lord in the land of the living. I'm here to testify about that. We will see that in our day. Now, folks, I ask the Lord to be with you. We love and care for you very much. We will be back here tomorrow evening just after 6 p.m., between 6 and 7 p.m. tomorrow evening and every day this week. If anything else happens between now and tomorrow night, we will be back here to talk about it as soon as the information becomes available. Okay? Before I sign out tonight, I want to check something here. Heather is saying we have a tsunami issued here. I'm going over to the National Tsunami Warning Center right now. Okay, there has been a tsunami threat issued. The 7.1 earthquake in the Kermadec Islands had a depth of 6 miles deep. Okay? There is a tsunami threat that has been issued. But right now I cannot bring up the threat. I'm sure it's for the South Pacific Islands, around Vanuatu, Tonga, Samoa, the Solomon Islands, the Loyalty Islands. That whole area there is going to be hit by at least a small tsunami. Okay? I will tell you more about that either later tonight or tomorrow, as soon as I get that information. But a tsunami threat has been issued as a result of this earthquake tonight in the Kermadec Islands. That's the largest earthquake we've had there in several years. Anyway, guys, God be with you. God protect you, and to hold you in the palm of his hands. May God be with you this day and always. I love you very much. We will see you on the other side of what happens. See you tomorrow at the very least. Have a good night, guys. See you soon. See you around the corner. Folks, just before I leave, please hit that thumbs up button. Okay, we had 150 so thumbs up yesterday. We really appreciate it. Okay, we have 480 subscribers. Please check your subscriptions and make sure you're still subscribed. Those of you that aren't subscribed, please subscribe to this program so you'll know when we come on this air, and you'll know about these earthquakes and disasters that are happening. It's everybody's reason to be here. Everybody needs to be able to protect themselves from what is happening. Have a good night, everybody.